Good morning. Today is Thursday, April 29th, 2021. There is what appears to be an extra word in the first verse of this week's parsha, which is the parsha of Emor. And the pasuk says as follows: Vayomer Hashem el Moshe. God said to Moshe, Emor el hakohanim b'nei Aharon, say to the Kohanim, the priests, who are the descendants of Aharon. Aharon was the first Kohen, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and his descendants are the Kohanim, even till today. So say to the Kohanim, V'amarta alehem, and say to them the laws that apply to a Kohen. And that's how the beginning of our portion begins, with various laws that apply to a Kohen. The problem in the first verse is the repetition of the word emor, to tell or to teach. One more time. God said to Moshe, Emor el HaKohanim, tell the Kohanim, Ve'amarta alehem, and say to them, these are the laws. Why is the telling or the saying repeated? So, I mentioned before, the Talmud gives an answer and says it's talking about two different sayings or tellings or teachings. Lahazir gedolim al haktanim, to tell the adults that they should tell the children. Lahazir literally means to warn. Lahazir gedolim al haktanim, to warn the adults concerning the children. In other words, Moshe spoke to the adult Kohanim, and the Kohanim were expected to speak to their sons, to teach them what they should do. And this is part of the mitzvah of chinuch, part of the mitzvah of educating our children in the ways of the Torah. Every parent has an obligation to teach their children, or to arrange to have taught to their children, Judaism and Jewish values and Jewish practices and Jewish texts. So that's why it says Emor twice. God said to Moshe to tell the Kohanim. They in turn, once they heard what they were supposed to do, they would tell their children what the children were supposed to do. Excuse me. But Rabbi Yochanan Zweig offers a different translation of this Talmud. Because the truth is, as James Baldwin wrote, children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them. And much more important than what parents teach their children, or grandparents teach their children, much more important than that is the example that parents and grandparents provide for their children and grandchildren by their actions. Lahazir gedolim al haktanim, says Rabbi Zweig, actually means to warn parents that they should act in a way that their children can follow their example of what is the right way in life. That is, lahazir gedolim, to warn children that you should act properly because al haktanim, your children are watching you. Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the former Lubavitcher Rebbe, explained this idea in a slightly different manner, in a slightly non-literal manner. Lahazir gedolim al haktanim, which again literally means to warn the older ones, the adults, the teachers, concerning the children, to act properly, as we're explaining. The word lahazir is very close related to the word lahizaher, to illuminate, mazhir, to light up, to create more light. And says the Lubavitcher Rebbe, very often what parents say to children is, here's what you should do. Or, maybe more often, don't do that. There may be a rule for that. There may be a place for that. But lahazhir means that we should be glowing ourselves. We should be lighting the way for our children by how we act. If we act in a way that our children and grandchildren see, this is something that is beautiful, I want to act in the same way. That's lahazhir. That is lighting the way through our own actions. And when we do that, then we are telling them, we are giving them the message, it's not just that they will do what is right because we told them, because that often doesn't work. Rather, they will see us, they will see their parents and grandparents and their teachers in front of them, lit up, illuminated by having done the right thing, and they will want to do the same. And this approach is more needed now than ever before. Another famous quote from Rabbi Schneerson, who said, "Today's children do not need to be overly criticized or lectured about their shortcomings. They are their own biggest critics. Instead, they need to hear more about their strengths and their incredible potential. Children need to be illuminated, lit up to their full potential by seeing in the adults around them that their lives, our lives, are illuminated by acting properly, by choosing wisely. That is what our children need most today. And that's the reason for the extra word in the first pasuk. Amarta, to say to the Kohanim, make sure that you are acting in a way that will light up the path for your children and grandchildren to want to follow. That's the lesson that extra word teaches. My friends, I want to wish you all a great day. I look forward to seeing all of you soon in